They say strange things happen at 3 a.m., things we can't explain. I always thought that was nonsense, until curiosity got the better of me. I decided to test it. I left my phone recording all night, pointed straight at my bed. The room was dark, quiet. Everything seemed normal. I fell asleep quickly, feeling a bit ridiculous, but sure I'd see nothing but myself tossing and turning or softly snoring. The next morning, a little embarrassed, I opened the video. The first few hours were uneventful, just as I expected. But when the clock hit exactly 3:02, the image glitched. Something, or someone, passed quickly in front of the camera. Not just a shadow, not a blur. It was a figure. Human, but distorted. Faceless. It stood by the side of my bed for exactly 47 seconds, watching me sleep. Motionless. And then it vanished. No sound. No trace. I didn't move once during that time, as if my body somehow knew something was wrong. I deleted the video. But the chill never left. Now I stay awake past 3. It was a Tuesday night. The kind of night where the wind doesn't blow and silence seems to listen. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe nothing. Maybe I just wanted to prove to myself that the weird feeling I'd been getting wasn't real, that it was all in my head. Still, I put my phone on airplane mode, turned on the camera, and set it on the dresser, facing the bed. The room was dim, lit only by the faint blue glow of the alarm clock. 11:47 p.m. I lay down, eyes open, listening. There was no breeze, no cars, no distant dogs barking, just the stillness. At some point, sleep took over. And then I woke up. Or, I thought I did. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. My eyes were open, but everything was wrong. The shadows didn't fall where they should. The air felt thick, like I was underwater. And then, in the corner of my eye, I saw something. Something standing in the room, watching. I wanted to scream, but I was frozen. Eventually, morning came. The light broke through the blinds and I could move again. My phone was still on the dresser, still recording. I hesitated before hitting play, but what I saw on that screen still plays in my mind every time the night goes quiet. At 2:59 a.m., I hit record. I left the room and went to the couch, just as planned. Just like I had rehearsed in my head a dozen times. But there was something strange about that night. Time felt heavier. Not slower, not faster. Just denser. Like each second had weight. Like the world was holding its breath. I sat on the couch in the dark, the soft hum of the refrigerator the only sound. My eyes stayed fixed on the hallway, though I couldn't see my bedroom door from there. I didn't need to. I just needed to wait. 3 a.m. came and passed. Silence. Then something. Not a sound exactly, more like a shift. A change in pressure. Like the air itself bent slightly, just behind the walls. I waited 5 minutes, then 10. Finally, I walked back to the bedroom. The door was half open. I was sure I'd left it shut. The phone was still on the dresser. The screen was black, still recording. I picked it up with shaking hands and stopped the video. I almost didn't watch it. But of course I did. And for the first 2 minutes, there was nothing. Then, at exactly 3:03 a.m., the camera flickered, and something stepped into frame. Not from the hallway, not through the door, it appeared. Like it had always been there, just waiting for the right time to be seen. 3 o'clock. A chill ran down my neck, even though I was far from the room. I sat on the couch, wrapped in a blanket that suddenly felt too thin. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence that doesn't comfort, but listens. Watches. I closed my eyes, trying to ignore it, trying to breathe. But something inside me whispered, "You shouldn't have done this." I don't know where the thought came from. It wasn't fear exactly. It was certainty. Like I had broken a rule I didn't know existed. I opened my eyes and stared down the dark hallway. The bedroom door was still open, a faint red light blinking from the camera on the dresser. Still recording, still watching, still alone. I hoped. The cold got worse. Not around me, in me. like something was remembering how it felt to be human. Then I heard it. A soft creak like weight shifting on the mattress, but I wasn't in the room. No one was. I didn't move. I couldn't. My phone buzzed once on the coffee table. A notification maybe. But I hadn't left it off airplane mode. I picked it up. The screen lit up, no message, no call, just a single line of text across the top. Stop watching. I must have dozed off. When I woke up, daylight was breaking. That soft, pale light that makes everything look quieter than it really is. Panic hit me fast. I rushed back to the room. The phone was still there on the dresser, unmoved. Screen dark, cold to the touch. I checked the camera. The recording had stopped. 47 minutes long. I hadn't set a timer. I hadn't touched it. It should have kept going until I came back. Hands slightly shaking, I hit play. The first few minutes were uneventful. Just an empty room, silent and still. Then, around the 18-minute mark, something shifted. The shadows near the corner of the room darkened, thickened, grew. At 23:12, the edge of the blanket on my bed moved, like someone had brushed against it. There was no one there. At 31:47, the camera flickered once. Then, for less than a second, something appeared in the center of the frame. Something tall, wrong. Its shape didn't make sense, like it had too many angles, not enough light. And then it was gone. At 47:01, the video ended. Not a fade out, not a slow stop. It cut to black, mid-frame, as if something didn't want me to see the rest, and maybe it didn't want to be seen at all. I thought about deleting it. My thumb hovered over the screen, ready to erase everything, the footage, the fear, the questions. But I hesitated. My stomach twisted in knots. I felt sick, like something inside me already knew what I was about to see. And then, clear as a voice not quite mine, something told me, watch it. I didn't want to. Every instinct screamed don't. But I took a deep breath, hit play, and braced myself. The screen lit up. The familiar image of my empty bedroom. Same lighting, same silence. But this time, I was watching closer. At first, everything looked normal. But there was a feeling, like static behind the eyes. Like the room wasn't as empty as it appeared. Then, at 4 minutes and 06 seconds, the camera shifted. Just slightly, like it had been nudged. I froze. I hadn't touched it. No one had. At 11:19, something passed in front of the dresser mirror. No reflection, just a blur, a presence, there and gone in a breath. Then came the sound, faint at first, a whisper, a voice I couldn't quite make out, repeating the same word over and over, just below the edge of understanding. At 20:44, the blanket on my bed started to slowly pull toward the floor. Not all at once, like fingers, invisible, careful, curious. I paused the video. My heart was racing. My palms were damp. I knew what was coming wasn't for entertainment. This wasn't just something I had captured. It was something I had invited. The first few minutes were normal. An empty room. Dim light from the bedside lamp casting soft, harmless shadows across the walls. The ambient noise was clean. Just the gentle hum of silence, the occasional creak of the old house settling. I almost let myself relax. But then, at 17 minutes and 08 seconds, I heard the first sound. It was faint, muffled, almost like a breath. Not mine, not from the hallway. It came from inside the room. I leaned in closer, rewound, played it again. There. A single inhale, long and deliberate, like someone standing just out of frame. I kept watching. At 17:42, the blanket on the bed shifted, only slightly but enough to catch my attention. Like something had sat down. No footsteps, no movement, just that quiet pressure. Then, at 18 saw exactly, the lamp flickered once, and the room changed. Not visibly, not obviously. But the air in the video felt different. The colors seemed flatter, the shadows deeper, like whatever was there had finally decided to make itself known. The audio began to distort. low frequencies rising slowly, building tension like something breathing just beneath the floorboards. I paused the video again. I was no longer afraid of what I'd caught on camera. I was afraid of what might still be in the room, with me, watching me watch it. It was subtle, a soft creak like wood reluctantly giving under weight. Then footsteps, but not normal ones. They were slow, dragging, almost lazy, as if someone were sleepwalking barefoot across the floor, half aware of their own body, disconnected from purpose or direction. Scuff, pause, scuff, pause. They weren't coming from the hallway. They were already in the room. I leaned closer to the screen, eyes locked on the frame. The camera didn't move. Nothing visibly entered, but I could hear it, moving, pacing, getting closer with each dragging step. At 21:19, the sound stopped. Dead silence. Then, something breathed near the microphone. It was too close, far too close. And yet the room still looked empty, still, calm, quiet. But I knew it was there, standing just outside the camera's reach, not hiding, waiting. And the worst part? It knew I was watching. The camera showed nothing. The room remained still, the shadows unchanged, the bed untouched. But the sound kept getting closer, louder. Scuff, pause, scuff, pause. The mic started to distort. A low crackle at first, almost like static. Then a sharp, high-pitched screech, like nails scraping against metal, made my skin crawl. I turned the volume down, but it didn't help. The sound wasn't coming from the speakers, it was real. The microphone was capturing something that shouldn't have been there. It felt like whatever it was getting closer to the lens. I could almost feel it moving just beyond the camera's view, creeping in slow and deliberate. I wanted to look away. I wanted to turn off the video, to stop it, to erase everything. But I couldn't. The noise continued, now mixed with a soft whisper, a voice distant but growing clearer. "You shouldn't have seen this." I froze. The whisper wasn't from the speakers. It was real, right next to me. I turned slowly, heart pounding, but the room was empty. No one behind me, no one in the doorway. I looked back at the phone, my hand shaking as I hit pause. The screen was black. The video had stopped, and still that whisper lingered in the air, as if it had never left. At 21 minutes, a sharp crack, like someone stepping hard on wooden floorboards. It echoed through the video, loud and clear. But still no one appeared. The room seemed empty. Or at least, it looked that way. I stared at the screen, heart hammering in my chest. Every muscle in my body told me to turn away, to stop watching, to delete the video and pretend nothing was happening. But I couldn't. Something kept me frozen, drawn into the dark silence. The shadows in the corners seemed to grow longer, stretching out across the floor like fingers, slow and deliberate. The light from the lamp flickered for a moment, casting distorted shapes across the room. But the bed remained untouched, the door still ajar. The crack repeated, louder this time, like someone was pacing across the floor, slow, methodical. But the camera didn't capture any movement. It just sat there, recording the stillness. Then, a soft dragging noise, a faint whisper of fabric on the floor. It was barely audible, but it was there. The blanket on the bed twitched, just enough to make me question my own eyes. It wasn't a gust of wind. It wasn't my imagination. It was something else, something unseen. I didn't move, didn't breathe. The air in the room felt thick, heavy, like it was holding something back. The dragging stopped. For a long moment, everything was still. Then at 22:34, something touched the camera lens. I didn't see it, but I felt it, like a presence, leaning in close, pressing against the lens. The camera shook slightly, as if recoiling. Then, it went dark. That's when the breathing started. Shallow, raspy, sickly. It wasn't just noise, it felt like it was in the room with me. The air seemed to thicken as the sound grew louder, heavier, more labored. Too close to be anywhere but right in front of the phone. It sounded like something was lying on top of it. Each ragged breath hit my ears like a hammer. I could almost feel the air moving in and out, wet and thick, as though it were trying to drag itself through the phone's microphone. My stomach churned. I wanted to stop it, to turn it off, but I couldn't. The breathing grew more erratic, each exhale longer, heavier, until it sounded like whatever it was could barely catch its breath. It was coming from just beyond the lens, right there, in the darkness, breathing down on it, waiting. I leaned in closer to the screen, my pulse in my throat. I couldn't see it. I couldn't see anything in the room except the faint glow of the camera light. But I knew it was there. It felt like it was watching me, like it could feel my fear, feeding on it, growing stronger with each passing second. The sound of its breath was so close, so intimate, it was like it was in my ear. And then, just as suddenly as it had started, it stopped. The silence that followed was deafening, too silent, too empty. But I didn't move, didn't even blink, and that's when I saw it. A shadow, just outside the camera's view, hovering near the doorframe. I had been so focused on the sound I didn't notice it before. Now it was unmistakable. It was waiting. But the phone never moved, it just kept recording. The room remained still, yet the atmosphere felt charged, as if something invisible was pressing against the walls, holding its breath. The camera didn't shift, didn't flinch. It simply captured the quiet, the tension, the moments that stretched longer than they should have. And then came the whispers. Distorted, muffled. At first I thought it was the sound of the wind, or maybe the static from the camera, but no. It was too clear, too intentional. The voice came from inside the room, soft, persistent, repeating a single word. Come back, come back. Each whisper felt like fingers brushing my skin, tugging at me, pulling me towards something I couldn't see, something I didn't want to see. The tone wasn't threatening, it wasn't angry, it was pleading, almost desperate. But what was it asking for? Who was it asking to come back? The breath on the microphone had stopped, but the whispers grew louder. They surrounded me, filling the room, slithering through the space like a hidden presence. I could almost hear the pleading in the tone, feel the desperation in each repetition. I looked at the phone, frozen, watching it. The camera still facing the empty room, capturing nothing. And yet, everything felt wrong. The shadows seemed deeper, more pressing. The air colder, the whispers growing more urgent. Come back, come back. I don't know how much longer I could take it, how much longer I could stay in the room. I reached for the phone, but my hand stopped mid-air. It wasn't the phone I was reaching for anymore. It was something else. I paused the video, my hands were shaking, the phone slipping slightly in my grip. I could feel my heart hammering in my chest, but I kept watching. I couldn't tear my eyes away, even though every instinct screamed at me to stop, to turn it off and pretend none of this was happening. At 29 minutes, something happened. The closet door creaked open, painfully slow. No wind, no reason. Just a soft, drawn-out groan of wood against wood, as if it had been waiting patiently for this moment. I leaned in closer, my breath shallow, barely daring to blink. The room in the video remained unchanged, dim, still, but something had shifted. I could feel it in the air, the weight of it pressing on my chest, like the house itself was holding its breath. The door opened a few more inches, inch by agonizing inch, until it was just wide enough for something or someone to slip through. But nothing emerged. Nothing stepped out, nothing moved. Yet the air in the room grew heavier. The shadows grew longer. I could hear the faintest rustle, the softest of noises, like something scraping against the walls inside the closet. It was a subtle sound, almost like a slow, deliberate breathing, but muffled, smothered by the darkness. My finger hovered over the screen. I wanted to fast forward, to skip ahead, to erase what was happening. But I couldn't. I needed to see it, to know. And then, just as I was about to turn away, the door slammed shut. The sudden noise felt like a slap. My heart jumped in my throat. The room went completely silent again. The video froze. The screen went black. And for a moment, all I could hear was the echo of that last deafening bang. The lamp flickered 3 times, then went out. Darkness swallowed the room in an instant, the light disappearing as if it had never been there. The sudden emptiness pressed in, and the shadows seemed to stretch further than they should have, consuming everything. But the sounds didn't stop. Now there were scratches, long, deep, like claws on wood. It was a slow, deliberate sound, drawn out with an unnatural rhythm. The sharp scraping noise echoed through the room, each drag of something hidden leaving a chill that ran down my spine. It was coming from the closet. It had to be. I sat frozen, my breath caught in my chest. The silence between the scratches felt suffocating, the tension unbearable. Each noise was like a heartbeat, each one closer than the last, closer to me. I wanted to look away. I wanted to tear my eyes from the screen, to close my ears to the terrible sounds, but I couldn't. The scratches grew louder, more frantic, as though whatever was inside the closet was trying to claw its way out of the darkness, out of the place it had been hidden. And then, just as suddenly as it started, the scratching stopped. Dead silence. The room felt wrong. The air had thickened like something was just waiting, watching. The shadows in the corner seemed to press in tighter, heavier. I could almost feel them moving. I reached for the light switch, but my hand trembled. Then from somewhere deep in the room, I heard a whisper. Low, raspy, familiar. Come closer. It was as though the darkness itself had spoken. Something hit the floor, heavy. It echoed unnaturally, as if the room had suddenly become larger. The sound stretched, warped in a way that felt wrong, like the walls had expanded just to make space for the noise. The mic picked up a low thud, like knees hitting the ground. I froze, every muscle locked in place. My eyes darted between the screen and the dark corners of my room. The sound had come from the video, not from here, but for some reason it felt like it had come from behind me. The room in the video was still, the bed undisturbed, the closet door closed once again, but the air felt heavier, thick with something unsaid. The mic picked up another sound, faint but distinct, a slow, shuffling movement, something dragging itself across the floor. It was coming closer to the camera, closer to the lens, and then silence. The room in the video felt too quiet, as though every breath was being held in anticipation. The darkness seemed to thicken, swirling with a presence I couldn't see but could feel, crawling just beyond the edges of the frame. I leaned forward, unable to look away. My heart pounded. The room was suffocatingly still, but the longer I stared at the screen, the more I felt it. Something waiting, something lingering in the shadows, watching the camera as it had watched me. Then, the whisper came again, closer, almost in my ear. I'm here. I slammed the phone down. The room was silent once more, but I could still feel it. It was here. Then, in a split second, something darted across the screen, black, twisted, human-shaped, but eyeless. It was a blur, a shadow moving faster than my mind could process. My breath caught in my throat, and for a moment, I thought I'd imagined it. But no. There it was. It was real. I hit rewind, my hands trembling. Slowly. I needed to see it again. I had to be sure. The screen flickered as I rewound, the image distorting slightly, but there, just as I had seen it, the shape reappeared. It was faster this time, darting from left to right, but this time I could see it more clearly. It was tall, unnaturally tall. Its limbs were too long, too angular, like they didn't belong. The body was twisted, contorted in a way that felt wrong, but it was the face, or the lack of one, that made my stomach churn. There were no eyes, no mouth, just a smooth, blank surface where the features should have been. It stared directly at the camera, directly at me. The coldness in the air thickened. I could almost feel its gaze through the screen, as if it were right in front of me. Watching, waiting. I paused it. The figure's eyeless face burned into my mind, I could still see it even when I looked away from the phone. The stillness of the image almost made it worse, like it was holding its breath, waiting for me to blink, to look away. I didn't want to press play again, but I had to. I had to see it, had to know what it wanted. At 43 minutes, the screen glitched. Lines appeared, jagged like static on an old TV, distorting the image. The once clear view of the room now flickered, warping in a way that felt unnatural, as though the camera itself was struggling to hold on to reality. The audio followed suit, distorting, reversing. A low, crackling sound filled the air, followed by voices. Many voices. Spilling in, fast and incomprehensible, speaking over one another in languages I didn't recognize. The words were layered, impossible to make out, like a chorus of whispers trapped in a frenzy. I couldn't understand a single one, but the tone was unmistakable. It was frantic, desperate, almost pleading. The voices grew louder, faster, a cacophony of sound that seemed to be coming from within the room, from the walls, from the floorboards, from the very space around the camera. I covered my ears instinctively, but the sounds continued, pulsing through the phone, creeping into my thoughts. I hit the volume button, but it didn't help. The words, those voices, pushed past every attempt to silence them. Suddenly, one of the voices broke through the chaos, clear and cold. "You shouldn't have watched." My blood ran cold. It wasn't the static. It wasn't the glitch. It was real. I fumbled to pause the video, but my fingers felt numb. The words kept tumbling over one another, now accompanied by a low hum, a deep, vibrating sound that seemed to rattle my bones. The static on the screen flickered again, and for a moment I thought I saw it. Something moving just behind the distortion. A shadow, a figure. It was too brief to confirm, but I knew what I'd seen. Or rather, what I thought I'd seen. A shape, tall and eyeless. It had to be. Suddenly, the video ended. The screen went black and the phone shut off by itself. No warning, no reason, just off. I stared at it, confused. The battery was at 86%, plenty of charge left. There was no logical explanation. No reason for it to power down in the middle of everything. It wasn't the battery. It wasn't an error. It was like something forced it to stop, something beyond my control. I tried pressing the power button, but it wouldn't turn back on. The screen remained black, unresponsive, as if the device itself had been silenced, as if it knew it shouldn't be running anymore. A cold chill ran down my spine. It wasn't just the phone. It felt like something in the room had decided to end it, to stop me from seeing more. I left it there for a moment, my hand still hovering over the device. My mind raced. I didn't know if I should try again or just walk away. But curiosity, that damned curiosity, kept me rooted in place. I grabbed the phone again, holding it tighter this time, pressing the power button repeatedly. Nothing. Then, a sound. It was faint but unmistakable. A buzz, like static electricity charging through the air. I turned slowly. The room felt colder, the shadows deeper than before. My heart pounded in my chest and the hairs on my neck stood on end. Something was there. Something had noticed me. The phone vibrated in my hand. It powered up, screen flickering to life. But this time, the screen wasn't showing the video. It was showing something else. A message. "It's not over yet." I froze. The words burned into my mind, and for a second, everything seemed to stop. The air, the world, the beating of my heart. Then the phone shut off again, and I could have sworn I heard a whisper, soft and chilling. "Come back." I went frame by frame. The video was over, but something nagged at me, something I couldn't shake. I had to go back. I had to see it again. So, I rewound the footage, slowing it down, carefully inspecting every moment, every detail. The static, the glitches, the shadows, every frame. I was searching for something I could have missed, a hint of what was really happening. And then, in the last frame, I saw it. A face, pale still. It was hidden in the corner of the room, near the wall, half shrouded in shadow. But it was there, watching. I froze. My breath caught in my throat. At first, I couldn't believe it. My mind scrambled for an explanation. It had to be a trick of the light, a reflection, maybe a shadow cast from something in the room. But no, it was too clear, too deliberate. In that last frame, it was me. Not an image, not a trick. It was my face, my exact features. But there was something wrong with it, something off. The eyes, they were pitch black, empty, hollow, void of any expression, any life. Just deep, endless darkness where my eyes should have been. A chill ran through me, ice cold, crawling up my spine. My body went rigid as I stared at the screen, unable to look away. The face in the corner didn't move. It didn't blink. It didn't do anything. But it was looking right at me. My face. A voice distant and familiar whispered in my ear, "Come back. You belong here." I slammed the phone down. But the image lingered, burned into my mind. It wouldn't go away. I backed away from the screen, my pulse racing, but I couldn't escape the feeling. The feeling that whatever it was, that thing in the corner, wasn't just in the video. It was here. Since that night, at exactly 3 a.m., the phone starts recording on its own. I don't have to do anything. I don't even have to be near it. The moment the clock hits 3, the screen lights up, and the recording icon appears. It's as if the phone itself has a mind of its own. I try to delete the videos, but they always come back. No matter how many times I press delete, no matter how many times I reset the phone or try to clear the storage, they always reappear, one by one. Each new video picks up right where the last one left off. But the worst part? Every time, it's closer to the camera. At first, the videos were short, just small snippets. The same thing. The shadows, the whispers, the cold, empty room. But over time, I noticed the subtle changes. Each recording was longer. Each frame was more detailed. And some presence was getting closer. The figure. It started in the corner of the room, just as before. But now it's standing in the middle of the frame. Its shape is clearer, its twisted limbs more defined. I can see its eyeless face in sharp detail, and every time its gaze is directly on me. I thought I could ignore it. I tried to. I tried to pretend it was all just some glitch, something my mind was conjuring up. But I can't escape it. It's not just in the videos anymore. It's in the air around me. I can feel it. I don't know what it wants, but I know it's not done. It won't stop until it's right here, right next to me. Every night at 3 a.m. the phone records, and I don't know how much longer I can hold on before it's finally close enough to reach me.